Thank you for coming to Midday and joining us here for this interview. First of all,
Thank you so much.
congratulations on winning the Best Actor award for a series from Midday and Radio City.
Thanks. Thank you.
So, how has it been like for you, the success, Pataal, Rocket Boys, coming in Tamasha? Like, I remember you from Tamasha. I clearly remember that
Oh,
scene,
sweet.
and so I want to ask you, like, how has it been like?
Long, long journey from Tamasha. It seems like another lifetime. I haven't really got the chance to sit back and think about it until now. I was shooting something last 2 years ever since I finished Rocket Boys, in 2020, end of 2020, 21, sorry. Just been shooting one set to another. And yesterday was my last day of shoot, day before.
Okay.
So finally, I have a breather after 2 years. Just been moving from one set to another, working with extraordinary people, filmmakers, actors, great producers. So it's been a dream run. What can I say? It's been great. Post Patal, of course, everything started. This new lease of life that I got. I was very grateful, I guess, for Patal Lok. And but at the same time, while you, as an artist, you kind of really want to sit back and stay with that moment, see your work, get meet people, go out there because it's kind of a you get isolated with that set of people that you're working with all this while. And we were in the middle of the lockdown when Patalo came out. But yeah, I wanted to go out and meet people, feel, it feels great. It's never happened to me that, people would walk up and say that because I've always been part of, been doing a lot of stage plays and been a part of smaller parts. So I had to kind of get that kind of recognition, eyeballs, and be under the spotlight, get recognized. But what even drives me more is now that because with every set, everything that I do, I feel like I get more and more empowered, build newer tools that I want to now implement and test my hands and try doing different things, newer characters, be a part of different stories. There's nothing that fuels me the way that does. Yeah, I guess I only feel complete when I'm working, but because it's been so much, been on the move, back to back shoots been happening. Finally, I think I did need a breather, which is come at a good time. That's now.
It's like you've been thinking over this for so long. It feels like you spoke about the COVID situation and then the whole process and the whole journey through that, and it just seems clear to me that how happy you are being back on the set to shoot.
And now the shooting's done. Now everything's done. I'm not shooting now. I just finished. All my assignments and all my obligations, professional obligations.
So tell me something. What was the toughest part of shooting Rocket Boys, and maybe how did you study the character Vikram Sarabhai? How much in detail work you had to do?
Oh, I mean, it's the thing is that it's not just about Vikram Sarabhai. I can answer this question in three different ways. But the one thing that I want to say is that every character requires it's like a person, and I don't get bogged down by. I didn't get thankfully didn't get bogged down by the greatness of Dr. Sarabhai and his legacy. But for me, he was a person. He was a person also the way he was written as a part of our screenplay. So while I set out on a journey to find Vikram outside of the script. I also stayed within the script, so it was both ways. So I read up on him, whatever was there to worthwhile about Dr. Sarabhai and his world and those amazing cast of characters from those days, the culture of those days, all of that. And I stayed with the story. My scenes became, as I read more and more of it, I was extremely thrilled to perform those scenes, looking forward to performing those scenes. As I read those scenes, I also wanted to know what's it like to be in a place like this. If it was about college years, I wanted to know that what is it that I was doing on a daily basis in that college. What kind of experiments, what kind of life. It has nothing to do with the scene, but has everything to do with it, because in that moment it's just about that human connection. But then how I go about living my life, and how I sort of create a place in any environment for myself, is something which becomes very important for me. So with Dr. Sarabhai, I guess the challenge was that because you it's a biopic, it's about his early years, it's about his younger days, college days, going up to the time, the later years of his life. He touched so many lives, interacted with so many people. So for me, I was and not like a burden. It was I was excited to know what was it like throughout these decades. What was it like in a what was a day like at ISRO in his life, PRL that he formed, or at
Did
Calico
you visit
Mill,
ISRO? Like
or
really to study the place and everything?
I would have wanted to, but we're in the lockdown, so I couldn't. Two places, ISRO and
I
his home. I would have definitely liked to visit and spend time with the family, but I couldn't because of the lockdown. But yeah, I mean, I have to say that it also taught me how to sort of not really, without going to a certain place, you can still create that universe if you get some good literature on it, and it's, I guess, paint those colors in your head. Interactive with a whole lot of people who knew about him,
how much
so it was complete. I would say I didn't feel like anything got missed out in terms of something that I would have really wanted to do, and I would regret that I couldn't do it.
And how much of physics have you learned by now? Because you yourself have been a student of architecture. I don't know how much of physics that it includes, but definitely science. But now playing a character of a physicist, how much of it have you learned and understood? Because when you're giving out the dialogues, you're talking about those and all the, like for me, those are jargons. But when you were speaking about it, did you really have to get into the nitty gritties to understand each and every word, then speak about it so that it doesn't come out wrong?
Again, a very very specific thing for me. I enjoy doing it because it's an acting pursuit is a literary pursuit. It's a pursuit of educational pursuit. I saw this as an opportunity to revisit some of the old textbooks. It's amazing, when I opened those old high school books. I don't know if in my high school books, I bought a whole lot of books. The content is similar, so I was reading. It took me back in time, and it took me back in ninth grade when I was reading the ninth class science book. I couldn't go past ninth grade, I have to say. I mean, I got a whole lot of books, but eighth and ninth I studied, probably some chapters of tenth. It gives you something. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it gives you so real that this kind of prep that I came across the concept of interdependence, which I also read was one of the tenets of Dr. Sarabhai. So I knew where it was coming from. I wasn't like, what is this interdependence? And then I used that as a tool to sort of, every time I'd be at a sort of, in a sticky situation, or I have to make a tough call, I would, it was about sort of teamwork. That thought of interdependence would sort of creep in, and it make me behave a certain way, react a certain way. So prep, if it's done specifically, can be magically real and effective. So all my readings were somewhere specific to, I think, things that I thought would be of genuine genuine use, rather than just kind of going down the rabbit hole and not knowing where I want to reach. And then from ninth class, I went straight to cosmic rays, straight to reading up about Goddard and the first week, the kind of experiments that were happening in the space of rocket science in those days. So I sketch out those diagrams and all of that, and really works for me. I some actors just don't do it, and I envy them how they just get it and they say it. Jim, for one, he just said it with conviction. He hasn't read any of it, or might have read some of it, but he does it so beautifully. I need to study. I need to study is the word. Just that thought itself. For me, it's a part of the performance. That if I do that study, one, of course, it gives me conviction. It gives me. I mean, it's not like I don't have the time. I won't be able to do it. I'll be able to do it. Probably no one will be able to tell if it's any different or not. But takes it's like my drug. The prep is like my drug.
You know what? I had this question that, how do you like I asked when I asked how do you work on a character, or how do you choose a character? How do you decide on it? I think you already answered it. It seems like you're so clear. You chose the right role for yourself because you like to read, and like you mentioned, it's your drug. So you would like to study and get into the detail of it and work on it. So that's something remarkable. And now, if I
Thank
talk
you.
about the chemistry between the characters, so the way Homi Baba and Vikram Sarabhai has been portrayed in the series, I remember the episode where Homi Baba passes away. and then you're sitting in front of him. He's writing a letter, which he's actually narrating it, but you are imagining it. You're just sitting there in his office. So when that scene was taking place, how was the feeling now between the actors at that point of time, that when you were shooting it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you see it what it is. I think it's what I was feeling. I was really living that moment. These emotional moments you can really live. And I guess if it stayed with you, it's probably coming from you could see the vulnerability and that longing and that loss and that what my character, what I was experiencing at that time. I think Abhay's captured it really well. Harshir has captured it really well. He got that the essence of that emotion. I was feeling it's like when you kind of uh, yeah, it's like he's happy to just in that moment. It's like this grief that he cannot be expressed, but then he cannot flow with it. He used to hold it back. It's also that the ability of the mind to create that person to sort of alleviate that pain, to reduce that pain. To it's almost like he's trying to heal himself by sort of creating Humi in front of him, and also asking him, "What do I do?" It's that he sits like this. If you notice, he sits like this. He says, "What do I do?" It's that question that he's asking. I still remember. It was a very beautiful moment. It just came to me at that point as I entered that room, and I kind of turned around and he's sitting there. And what happened was that we, because we stayed with each other for so long, we created I realized that all that prep and reading the script and everything just goes out of the window, and then it's that energy that connect that you've established, all those scenes that you've done with your co-actor. It creates an amazing, intangible sort of a thing between the two of you that you only that that I've that all the memories and that sense of all those scenes that you performed, the relationship that you formed with him, it's something if it's a great resource to tap into. If you do, then things just flow like that one scene that you mentioned. There was no planning in it. It's just I knew what I'm here for, and I knew that when I saw him, things just happened. I didn't have to do anything. It was just I just got emotional. So it's yeah, that's why this craft is mystical and surprising.
So now when I'm thinking more of you, not just as an actor or a performer, but also as a person in real life, you seem to be like somebody who's very meticulous in nature, who likes to get into the detail of it, likes to understand things on your own level, and it's not somebody who's just a serious, who is a serious person. But on the other hand, when we see you as a person, when I check you out on your Instagram profile for your pictures, or if I'm checking your pictures on other social media platforms, or just googling it in general, you did now just a basic idea. People make this judgment in their head. Okay, this person dresses up in this way, so this person is going to be like that. I don't want to think like it at all. But when I speak to you and when I see you dressing, you have that. You try different clothing and you try to experiment with that as well. How do you balance that?
No, I don't know if there's anything unusual. I mean, I guess for me it's like work is always work is work, and where I'm not working, it's just something that I mean, I guess anyone who's serious about his work, who takes his work, like you said, meticulous about work and thorough, doesn't have to be a boring person. He could have a fashion sense. He could have a keen interest in fashion, which I do. Could have a keen interest in the good things in life, food, nice fancy places, going to nice fancy places, traveling, reading, all kinds of things, watching movies, going out partying. I've lived all those lives. I've had a phase of different things. Now, of course, I'm a little more focused on work. I've always been actually very, very focused on work, and everything around it functions. Or it's all like interwoven. That's how my life has always been. Yeah, I think don't label me as a nerd. I'm not a nerd.
So, but I'm also saying this because in 2020, you were in a list for Times for most desirable men. You were at the 18th number for most desirable men.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's a great feeling. I wouldn't say that it hurts. Really glad that people kind of, I guess every actor wants that kind of an attention. I mean, every enjoys it. Not really my motivation to do things, but in the interim, if it happens, it's great. It's nice to get that kind of attention too. I do feel that it's that I what really fuels me is again my daily work, what I read, what I'm doing if I'm shooting, how much revelations are happening every day about the character. How am I raising the bar as an actor for myself? How am I kind of what am I doing to be a good actor or to be good at what I do? It's something that keeps me motivated. Just exploring the craft, that's what keeps me motivated. And yeah, as a byproduct of this, you get the eyeballs, you come under the spotlight, people appreciate you, the way you dress up, the way you look. Doesn't hurt you, doesn't, I mean, I quite like it.
If I may ask, you're working on a movie with Apar Shakti Khurana named Berlin. If you want to throw some light on that, how's it been going like?
Oh, it's a so all that's done. I'm not shooting anything right now. I've shot for everything. I shot for a bunch of things, Berlin, a couple of other things. It's all done. I'm a free man now. But what a cast! What Apar is, I love Apar. He's become a very good friend. Rahul Bose is amazing, and he's also in the movie. The director is someone I'm very very fond of. Atul Sabharwal, writer director. He's definitely one of the best writers and the directors in the country. He's at least I'm in my opinion he is. He's brilliant, and I love that set. I love the way Atul runs his set, carries and gives actors the kind of leeway to work. The content is beautiful. I mean, the writing it's one of the best scripts I've ever read. I'm so fortunate to be, headlining that along with a part. Yeah, a dream role. Absolutely, a dream role.
When you told your family that you're going to play this character of Vikram Sarabhai, the historical character, and after the series was out, and when they saw you on the television screen, what was their reaction like?
They've been very proud actually, right from the start. But then, I guess beyond the point, I guess unless you get that kind of commercial, unless you really make that transition, become like an actor who's consistently working, headlining projects, it doesn't. I guess for any performing artist's family, there's this kind of nervous about where is this career heading and all. But post Pataal Log, I mean, every day I wake up and it's like they've been very very proud. And with the release of season one, they were extremely happy. And then the kind of work that I've done in the last 2 years after Rocket Boys, we shot both the seasons pretty much together. Of course, one major sked we did in December last year. So apart from that, I was done with Rocket Boys end of December. Yeah, and it's well, thankfully, I can't thank the audience and make us enough. That I guess that's my biggest reward. I'm always on the move. I'm working, not hardly spend time with family, hardly stay in Delhi. But the fact that when I come back, I see this. They're so proud. They're so happy, and I have to say that's the biggest reward. I guess all the hardship, all the grind that sometimes gets to you. It just fades away.
So, what are you watching right now? Like any series or anything that you're following up with?
I'll tell you what I watched recently, and I really loved it. And it also happens to be an adaptation of my favorite book, one of my favorite books, The Haunting of the Hill House. What a
Oh,
show! I mean, it is phenomenal. Have you seen it? It's on Netflix.
I started with it at a
If you're
point,
not,
but I used
it's
to
too
watch
much
it
for
when I
you.
was alone, so I just stopped it.
It's not for the faint-hearted. But Haunting of the Hill House is Shirley Jackson has written the book, which is excellent. There was some adaptation, there was a movie made on it, which is quite well. It didn't really, back in the day, I think in 90s or 2000 was made. Nothing much I would say about that. But this show has shown what can be done with a book. And forget about, I'm not even talking about the fantastic storytelling and the way it's shot and the performances and the narrative and all of that. Just the idea how they have broken boundaries and they've created something extraordinary. I have a keen interest in horror now, and why I'm talking about this instead of anything else is because I too have just jumped the this bandwagon, and I've quite recently become a a fan of horror novels, horror genre, films, shows, because I acted in one. I acted in an Amazon show, which is a supernatural thriller horror show called Adhura, which is also scheduled to be out pretty soon. And that's what got me hooked. And this is something before this, and before I did the show, before I read, and that's why I started reading because I wanted to know that world and all. I was very scared. I couldn't watch a single horror scene. Forget about watching a show. But now I can sit. I mean, and when I got the show, I thought I'll die. I thought because I couldn't say no to the work. It was good work. I know it was a very, very, a filmmaker I really believed in. I couldn't. I knew I had to do it. I also liked the story, but I knew that. I mean, I was that scared. I thought that something like one of these days, because I'll be reading about it, and uh, you know, s- this thing's just gonna come in front of me and like suck the life out of me.
See, this is the
So
reason
all
I'm
that's
not
gone now.
watching
I'm.
such movies or series and I was sitting alone at home.
Eh, the funny thing is, my director said, I said, wow, so we're gonna have fun with this. My producer is the first one to say. I said, but sir, I must tell you this that I don't watch horror. He's like, neither do I. Then I had this conversation with my director. I said, I'm really excited about this and it's so well written and all. And I really hope that, but I have to tell you, I don't watch horror. I'm too scared. He's like, so am I. I was like, who watches horror? We're making a horror show and nobody, but thankfully the writer is someone who's like an expert on occult and she's also one of the co-directors. So yeah, by the time we went on set, we were all expert on supernatural and we'd done our research and prep and we were all like Ghostbusters, looking for like some supernatural activity.
You now have got this idea that you enjoyed watching this series and all. So if given a chance, you have to pick up a genre which you might want to, work on as an actor. Say, consider rom-com or a horror movie. What will you pick up?
Just good writing. Could be anything. I
It
wouldn't,
can be anything.
yeah, genre. Yeah. There's no point picking up a genre. I think it just needs to resonate with me. It needs to, the character is something that I feel that I can be invested in, get enough, because I do like to sort of delve deeper. And even if it's a light-hearted comedy movie, which I recently did one, which doesn't need that deep dive, and you don't have to go to the bottom of the ocean. It's just fun. It's just enjoyable. Any place where I feel that I'm gonna that's a good story, authentic to its genre, and serious comedy, horror, action, and where I can have fun. I get to do something that sort of makes me feel like this is makes me feel like my life's like I'm doing something with this as with my craft with the tools that I have.
Where do you see yourself as an actor in the coming future? So, of course, none of us know what the future holds. But if you see that you would want to be known in this particular manner, or if there has to be an adjective for you.
Too soon to speak. I mean, it's like you're writing my obituary.
No.
It's no, I mean, nobody, like you said, nobody knows what lies ahead of us. I'm very happy, taking it as things come, and that's what I love about this work. That I'm sitting here today, relaxed at ease. A week later, I might be doing workshops and rehearsals with probably my dream team, my favorite filmmaker. It's like you go from 0 to 100 in terms of activity, and just be dormant, and then you're just on your toes working. I use this time when I'm not. What I guess the advice I give myself is, and what I really look forward to is that when I get my work done and I don't have anything to do, I get back to the good old routine of working on the basics. So working on the craft, which you can also do while you're shooting, which you do, advance your craft for sure. But yeah, it's like uh, training, basic drills, something that I just want to be as consistent with this as possible. Keep exploring this as much as I can.
Who was that one actor or director you would really want to work with?
I did have favorites, but I don't anymore. Working with people, I've realized that every actor is so unique. And who would have thought that Abhay Pannu is one of the greatest directors we have in the country until 3 years back? I totally believe in him, in his writing, his storytelling. The fact that, we all want to work with the masters, but the thing is that you got to see that the young blood is coming up with some great ideas, and they're making their films with fearlessly. They're so good with their filmmaking. Their ideas are new, with this fresh perspective and this new vision that they come, and then the energy that they bring to set is so inspiring. So I want to work with the masters. I want to work with the new filmmakers. I want to work with the ones who've been, just anyone who's willing to tell an authentic story and believes in his filmmaking. Doing it, anyone who's doing it for the right reasons.
I mean, I also have the same process that, when you're picking up a book or watching a movie or a series, let's just stick to the story and not what the genre is like. And you can just flow in and see how the story works. So I think that's a very interesting take, and it's something to learn from you as a person, not just as as characters you play by. So thank you, Ishwak. Thank you so much for joining us today for this interview. Thank you for coming to Midday for
Thank
us.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank
Thanks. Bye
you.
bye.
Take care. Bye bye.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.